Talkers. Here at Veteran Trash Talk, we actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a butter bar lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran and their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
Hey, what's up, Mental Health Nation? Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. We're going to kick off a little bit early tonight. Sorry that my screen's a little bit dark. As you guys know, from time to time, I deal with allergies with my eye. I've been out house hunting here in Italy this week. We'll get into that later before I make my way around the horn. But anytime I'm exposed to mold, my left eye breaks out really dark red, gets really painful. It's allergies. I've been to the eye doctor many times. It's only allergies. Yes, it's odd that it happens in one eye, but I deal with it. So to have the light on me tonight was just a little bit too much. I could have done it in sunglasses, but I just didn't want to do that because we have such an important topic to talk about today. I just didn't want to have sunglasses on for that because, burnout is such a huge problem that I think a lot of us are feeling, especially with everything going on in the world today. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. But before I get into that, shout out to Pepe, my friend Pepe. He's been helping me look for homes. And so you go out to my YouTube page. I'll share the link out there later. You can see the homes that I've been looking at here in Italy. I'm going to look at more homes tomorrow, and then I'll probably make the final decision on where we're going to move to and what kind of home we're going to live in. So super excited about that. It is a different process than buying a home or renting a home in the States. And so it's a good learning process, but I'm so very lucky to have Pepe as a friend because this guy is like a warrant officer. He knows everybody, knows all the angles, knows all the stuff. He just sits back and he's quiet. But okay, enough of that. I digress. I'm going to get into go around the horn. Hey, so you scan that QR code for Visa Across America. It's really great and wonderful what they do during the holiday season to memorialize the veterans there. And, you can scan that code and make sure that, it's placed on the tombs. Super proud to be part of them. I just did an interview. Jeff Pierce set me up the interview with At Ease Magazine. It's going to come out on the 25th anniversary of 9/11. Anyway, I say all that to say, hey, scan that QR code, donate money. You can personalize a wreath to a loved one or a family member. And it's super great with what they do. Hang on a second. I didn't bring up all my stuff on my screen today. Now I'm going to do it. And so, as you know, and you shouldn't know, but you should know, Reads Across America also has a radio station. So Reads Across America Radio replays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. It's super easy to find. Hey Brian, how you doing? Sorry about last week. Chris was gone to a pool tournament and we didn't have the show. I decided to cancel it. But he did a great job and he's back home now. So congratulations, Chris, on your first tournament there in Las Vegas. Anyway, so Reads Across America, they have a radio station. So they replay my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. You just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app. And you search for Reath. Just Reath. And Reads Across America will come up, radio, and you'll be able to like and follow them. They have a lot of great programs. It's really amazing with what they do with the program and how it ties in back to Reads Across America. But they do so much for the veteran community. And they have so many great podcasts and programs out there. And so give them a look, see, give them a like. We all in this together. Likes and subscribes is how we keep continuing with what we're doing. But also, I'm super excited. A couple of reasons. One, my oldest son graduates college from Hampton City, so shout out to him on May 9th. So I'll be back in the States in May. And guess what? I can meet up with Chris. I'll put my order in for some 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirits. My Italian friends are already talking about it. And I'll be able to bring some back for them, so we'll have a little party, maybe at my new house. Have a little party and invite them over. And, of course, I always love to share it. There is a place called the Wave Bar that a good friend of ours, Jerry, owns. And on the bar still, to this day, he has the bottle of 10th Mountain Whiskey on there. And when his special friends come into the Wave, he does share that with them. And so it's kind of nice to go in there and still see that bottle of 10th Mountain Whiskey. But if you've not tried them, if you're not a bourbon drinker, try them. I was a Scotch drinker. I made the switch. And I tell you what, but even if you don't want to switch, which is fine, but they have really great cordials. They have great moonshine. But their cordial, I would say, is probably one of the more popular ones. And it's the ones that out here that a lot of the Italians absolutely love, is a cordial. I was trying to find that photo of when I was in the Wave the last time. And I had a photo of the bottle. But if I find it, I'll post it out there. But it's amazing. So give them a look. See, we'll share the website. We'll share a QR code so you can save a little bit of money with them. Oh, here it is. I found the photo, right? So here, I'll try to show you right there. See the photo? There you go. You see that 10th Mountain Whiskey bottle right there? It's this one. Go ahead here. It's the last one right there. And let's see if I can get in. Let's see if my camera will work with me today. Nope, it's not going to work. But anyway, there it is. And that's up at the Wave Lounge there. So there you go. So that's Wave Lounge in Napoli. Let's see here. 10th Mountain. I was hoping it would come in. But yeah, I'll zoom it in. Maybe that'll help. There you go. See it? 10th Mountain Rye Whiskey right there. Right, and look at that. It's almost empty. So I got to get more whiskey out here for them. Anyway, the Italians love it. So scan that QR code, give them a look. See, you guys watched the video before the show started for Better Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage. The interest rates are going to come down. If you want to look at refinance, maybe you want to buy a house. I do have my house for sale in Virginia. So if you're looking for a house in Manassas, Virginia, it is zoned for one of the best schools, Colgan Performing Arts High School out there. So let me know. Hit me up in the comments. I'll give you the name of my realtor. It's 100% off the grid, full solar for Tesla Powerwall. But hey, that may be looking at, if you got questions about your VA loan, maybe you haven't used your VA loan, they'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. So scan that QR code, get in touch with them, that will help you out. The Navy PCSs all the time. The Army PCS season's coming up here in the summertime. And so if you're going to go to Hawaii, you want to scan that and have PCS Paradise to give you a look-see. They'd be more than happy to help you find your dream home while you're stationed in Hawaii. And it's kind of hard, right? I had friends of mine that, they thought they were going one place in the military. And of course, mission changes, mission creep. And they wind up going to Hawaii, and they were able to help them out with that process. And they've all been very happy with what PCS Paradise was able to do to them. So if you're a military member and you're PCS in Hawaii, scan that QR code and be more than happy to help them. If anything, us having these sponsors really help us to continue our mission with what we're doing, both at Veterans Trash Talk and also here at Mental Health Warrior, my podcast, to continue the message out there to stop the 22 a day. And just even more than that, just trying to help everybody deal with everyday life stuff, right? Because stuff happens all day. And, I've had a pretty stressful week, although I've been looking at homes and dealing with that. And of course, now I got the eye thing that flared up that makes painful, and it takes a while for it to go away. But I put medicine in my eye every day, and it's just one of those things, right? You can get down about it. You can get depressed about it. But with all the things going on, and before I jump into all this, all the thoughts and prayers out there for all the families and military members that are currently deployed or currently on Operation Fury. My thoughts and prayers are out as a veteran, and as veterans who listen to the show, we all know what that's like and what you guys deal with. So our thoughts and prayers are out there, and I know you guys are out there because the Americans military is number one, and nobody can stand next to us. And as a Gen Xer, and as I spent most of my life dealing with all the threats of the last 47 years, I'm not going to go into this very deep because I want to get into the topic for tonight, of Iran always running their mouths, of the bombings they've done and been part of, and all the things they've done. I'm just going to say that I'm exactly happy with what's going on. You can debate that with me all you want. I don't believe in war, but sometimes it just has to occur. And when you see the Iranian people out there celebrating, I have a lot of Iranian friends of mine, some that were directly affected when the Ayatollah took over and had to go live. And I imagine they are celebrating as much as many Iranians are doing. And so I'll just leave it with this. If the population that you're bombing are celebrating that you're bombing, then you're probably doing the right thing. I'll leave it at that. Okay? So how's everybody doing today? Everybody's having a great Wednesday. Hope your week's going great. Hope you got great plans for the weekend. Here in Italy, spring has sprung. It usually happens by the end of February. We're already going into spring here. The weather's getting nice. It's not raining quite so much. And so all the trees are blossom out now. All the cherry trees, the peach trees, the apple tree, everything's blossoming out. And so, for somebody who deals with a lot of things, that can be very stressful for a lot of people. And so what I would like to share is, if you read the little blurb for the show tonight, I was going to talk about dealing with life burnout. There's so many things going on in life right now with the news cycles, maybe in your personal life. And I just really wanted to spend this time on this podcast to really talk about really good ways in dealing with burnout. And I think it's so very important. And it's something that we don't normally think about. You think, oh, I'm just tired, or maybe I'm just being lazy. I don't want to do anything. And not really being true to yourself, that maybe what's going on with you, hang on a second, I forgot to bring up my live video so I can chit chat with people, is that you're burned out and you just haven't realized it. Let me just make sure this is working. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, thanks for running. Yeah, I wish I could run. I hurt my back. Let's see here. Tuning in tonight. Let's see if it works. Hey, it works. Okay, so dealing with burnout, one of the very first things you need to do is just admit that you are dealing with burnout. I think for a lot of us, admitting to that is hard because you don't really understand what that means to be burned out. Like I said, sometimes you take it as laziness, sometimes you take it as failure. And sometimes people just feel like they're stuck in a rut and they're just trying to power through something, but your tank is empty, And so what do you do if that's occurring with you? It's very important for your mental health that when you get into these areas where you're burned out or you're stuck or things, that you recognize the problem, right? You can't fix a problem until you recognize it. And so the first thing we need to do is look at recognizing the problem. Yes, I will admit, I'm pretty burned out this week. And I know when my body is worn out and tired because I start getting injuries, right? I have my eye injury going on now. I pulled a muscle in my back. It hurts. I can hardly get around. Did I stop running? No, because I'm stupid. So I still continue to run. I still did my core workout. I jumped on my trampoline today. But I didn't do as much. Because to me, I always have to work out. It's just something I have to do. If I don't work out, I'm not right. So what can you do after you said, okay, I'm burned out. I'm burned out with life. Things are going on. I need to do something different. And one thing I always like to do here is I like to give tips. I like to give helpful advice. Of course, I'm no doctor. You guys all know that by now. I'm just a guy that's pretty smart. Been through a lot of stuff. Been through a lot of stuff you guys don't even know about because a lot of stuff I don't talk about. And, I try to do as much as I can to help the veteran population and just population at all with mental health issues, because I know that mental health affects everybody, whether you're rich or poor, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. Mental health doesn't care what you look like, doesn't matter what your background is. It's going to affect everybody. And we have to learn to deal with it, because we're really losing too many kids, too many veterans, too many people unaliving themselves. And we really just need to. I will talk about it, I guess, until the day I die, or until somebody quits telling me to stop doing my podcast. It's terrible or whatever. I don't know. Probably then I'll probably just do it and just be talking to myself. But one of the most important things to do when you're dealing with burnout is there's some things you can do to yourself physically that will help that. And one of the most important things, and I'm the first to admit to this because I'm horrible at it, but I've been trying to get better at it, is sleep. And there's many things you can do to improve your sleep. I generally function well with 6 hours sleep. Now, they will tell you that you need more than 6 hours, but between 6 and 8 hours for my body, for me, I feel rested. I don't feel tired. If I get less than 6 hours, and I've done that a couple of times this week, then I start feeling the effects of it. And then I have to kind of retool myself in trying to get better sleep. And there's a lot of things that you can do, um, you know, to help you sleep better. One is when you're done with work, be done with work. When you go home, stop working, right? You guys know the people I'm talking about. But if you're constantly working at home, you're never really allowing yourself to relax. You're never really allowing your brain to kind of shut down. And, you just need to kind of say, okay, I worked my 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I work 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts. But now I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm just going to relax. And one of the most important things we can do, and that we're all guilty of, is being on your cell phone up until the time you go to bed. It's really, really important that you kind of set your cell phone down and take a break for at least about an hour before you go to bed. Of course, now it's easy for me. I have to have the lights dim, but dimming the lights and just kind of setting your body into that mode of trying to, kind of relax. Now, one thing that I started doing that I was never done before in my life, and quite surprised on the effects that it had on my sleep, is taking magnesium at night before I go to bed. And so if you haven't tried it, you should try it. But taking magnesium before I sleep at night has improved my sleep so much better. So much so that when sometimes I forget to take it, and when I wake up in the morning, I know instantly that oh crap, I forgot to take the magnesium at night before I go to bed. So if you had not taken magnesium, of course, everything you need to consult with your doctor, but get a good, complex magnesium vitamin and take it before you go to bed. It's not, fat soluble, it's water soluble, so you don't have to eat with it. But I do a couple of things I do also when I take my magnesium is two things I do. One, if I'm not drinking, I'll take wild honey also before I go to bed. Now, what does wild honey do? Wild honey feeds the brain. It makes for restful sleep too. And so I will take that along with the magnesium. You can Google that, the health benefits of taking honey before bed. The one thing you cannot do when you're taking honey is drink it with alcohol. You can't take honey and alcohol because it's two different sugars, and it will mess your body up. I made that mistake. When alcohol is infused with honey during the distillation process, that's something different than taking raw honey and alcohol at the same time. So if I'm drinking, I don't take the honey. Now, there's something else you can do to help you sleep better is not to drink, or drink a little bit less. I'm not here to preach. I like to have a good, good 10th Mountain Bourbon whiskey or scotch or whatever I like to have to sit and relax and have that drink. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But drinking too much obviously can have a detrimental effect also. And one thing that you can do also is I take olive oil. I found out that you can take olive oil and it has a similar effect to honey. So, but one thing about olive oil is, unlike honey, if you've been drinking, you can take the olive oil, the extra virgin olive oil. Now, when you buy olive oil, it's very, very important to follow these rules. One, if it's in a plastic bottle, it's crap. It's rancid. It's no good. Any olive oil in a plastic bottle is no good. Second, when you're looking for a good quality olive oil, and you can find them in the States, I need to adjust my camera. You can find them in the States, is this needs to be in a dark glass bottle. That's your first indicator. If it's in a dark glass bottle, may be good. Secondly, it has to be traceable. Okay, so what does Cliff mean by traceable? Well, when you turn the bottle over, it should be made and come from one country, whether it's Spain, Greece, Italy, should only come from one country. If they have multiple countries listed on there, then it's crap. Even though it's in a dark bottle, dark green bottle, it's crap, because if it comes from multiple countries, they're using the excess from making the good olive oil, and then they're combining it and then rebottling it and then selling as good olive oil. It's not good olive oil. So if it comes from multiple countries in one olive oil bottle, it's no good. Throw it away. Don't drink it. Don't have it. And so also it should have a lot number there and a tracing number and the date that it was harvested on. And so you can find those in the States. Before I came to Italy, I knew this about olive oil. Of course, being from Greek descendant, my grandmother was born in Greece, Tripoli, Greece. Actually, I'm going there in a couple of weeks, and so you find good quality olive oil. Now, also with the olive oil, one thing I do, because I don't typically like eating fish, but olive oil is extremely, extremely good for you. And so every day, every morning, I drink 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And when you drink a really, really good olive oil, it'll burn your throat a little bit, but that's a profiterol. So that's what you want. You want that feeling. And that has such a good, profound effect on you. You can Google the health benefits of that. I'm not going to go all on that. But that's some things you can do to kind of help protect your sleep, because sleep is the most important. And that's why I talked about it first, because sleep will really, really help you in dealing with your burnout and stress at work. And something that we all have problems with, and something, especially if you're a veteran or you're in the military service, everybody has a problem with this. I know this for a fact, is you have to set real boundaries. And the real boundaries don't necessarily have to be with work. Real boundaries have to be with your cell phone. Real boundaries have to be with everything. And it's very important to set boundaries. I'm the world's worst at it. I will help people till wee hours of the night. I will do all these things, but I forget to take care of myself in the long run. And when I do that, obviously, then I have my own problems. And so if you're not good at it, you can always set an alarm, to let you know that, hey, now's the time that I need to set stuff aside. I need to quit doing work. I do all my social media posts. I do all my things. I don't know why I just went blurry right here, but I fixed my camera. Let's give it a good washy. Washy. Or maybe I just had a ghost appear. Who knows? Hey, if you see a face or ghost behind me, let me know. I was just watching videos about that before I came on. But it's really important to set boundaries. I know it sounds kind of silly. It can be hard at first, but that's important. So we said, first you acknowledge the problem. Secondly, you need to protect your sleep because it's very important. And then third, you need to start setting boundaries, because these things are going to help you in dealing with your burnout, which in turn is going to make your life a lot better, which in turn is going to make your mental health a lot better. Secondly, if your energy's low, you need to move it, right? Our bodies are designed to move. We're not designed to sit still. And I'm the world's worst of this. Not the world's worst. Even though my back's, and I'm moving around tonight a lot in the chair because my back's bothering me, but I still did my core training exercise. I still jumped on my treadmill, I still jumped on my trampoline. And then I didn't go for a run. I did a run walk today because actually the movement helps my back. It's when I sit too long that it starts. I just tweak the muscle. That's all that's going on. But it really helps when you kind of move your body around. And so if you haven't exercised for a while, as a personal trainer, you want to start out slow. So maybe just go and walk for the evenings. After dinner, go for a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk. You can go with the family. You can go by yourself. But just kind of take that time, because exercise really helps reset your nervous system, and it really helps boost your mood. And so try to do something in movement. I don't care what it is. I'm not saying go out and get shredded. I'm pretty shredded for 56 because I lift weights and do all these other things. I'm not saying do any of that. I'm saying just do movement. Move. Do something, right? Go for a walk. I don't care if you walk around your house. I don't care if you jump up and down. I don't care what you do. Just do something, movement, exercise, because even a little bit is going to help kind of boost your immune system, kick up that nervous system, the lymphatic system, and get things going. And so that's so very important. Something else we can do, and sometimes we forget about it when we're really stressed out, we're burned out, and a lot of things are going on, is we start isolating, right? Because you are tired, you are fatigued. Oh, I don't want to go see my friends tonight. I don't want to go hang out. I don't want to go this. And so you slowly start to isolate yourself. And that's one of the worst things you can do. And so as you're exercising or going out and walking, maybe ask a friend to go. And then on your walk, you can talk about things that are going on with you or struggles in your life, or maybe just hang out with somebody. It doesn't have to be anything. Go visit with somebody, go talk with them, take a nice little long walk with them. Just something to get things that's bothering you off your chest. And if you don't feel like talking about somebody out there, there's many IEI programs out there you can do it. I talk about ear kick all the time, but really you just really connect back with human beings, and just hang out, and make sure it's a low demand group. If you have a group of guys or a group of friends, where you don't talk about work, go maybe watch a football game or a soccer match or something like that, but just slowly kind of start to reconnect. I think that's something important, and that's something that as you're getting burned out and you're isolating yourself, we forget to do. We forget to reconnect, right? Because you're tired, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, and you just forget to say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to leave this stuff over here. I'm going to let it hang out over here, and I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And that's probably something you should look at doing. Or maybe you and your wife can go for a walk together, or whomever, your significant other or something, just to really, um, just to make that connection again. Because we do have a tendency to isolate ourselves. We don't realize it. We probably think about it now, Cliff's probably right. Yeah, I do get stressed out and burned out, and I do kind of isolate myself, and so that can lead to other problems. And so we don't want to do that, And one of the I think the hardest thing to do, especially for me, is reevaluating your priorities. And what do I mean by that? Well, if all your priorities you're doing now is what's causing you to be burned out, then maybe you need to reevaluate and look at them. I have a lot of things going on this time of the year. I'm gearing up for speaking events in September, October. Pepe and I's, we're starting a new business, and that doesn't kick off yet till April. Of course, I got my son, graduating college in America. I got to fly back there. I'm going to go to Greece. So I got a lot of things going on. And so what I need to do is look back at my priorities and ask myself, am I doing this only because I think I should? So, yeah, I think I should be doing some of this, but some of this stuff maybe I don't need to be doing this. And maybe you should ask that yourself. Um, and really think about what really matters to you. Is this going to matter to you 5 years from now? Did it matter to you 5 years ago? Does this really matter? And does this, what you're doing, really enhances your life or helps your life, right? And so you have to really look at that. And then you need to realize that maybe you got to drop, delegate, or postpone something that is really bringing on your burnout, right? And so you have to, in this evaluation process, look at your priorities and reevaluate them, right? And so what I had to do is for me, when I got people come in, they want cost estimates, and I spend a lot of time doing that because I have to look at my travel, the cost expenditure travel, but then I have to estimate it because I've estimated it wrong. I had to get money come out of my own pocket. And so that, it's a lot of process to do and figure that. We got tax season coming on, of course, with all the fraud. That's very stressful for me. I haven't even touched my taxes yet. I don't know. I'll probably get an extension due in August. I don't know. So I rewrite my priorities and maybe do my taxes in August. I have no idea. But that's very important. I mean, kind of silly right there. But by reevaluating, dropping them, rechanging things, the world's not going to end, right? It's gonna be okay, right? And so look at doing that, and it doesn't have to be major tweaks. It can just be little tweaks. Everything I'm talking about here today helping you dealing with burnout, but it doesn't have to be major life changing decisions that you make. It's just little bitty tweaks that you can do to help make things better. And the most important little bitty tweak you can do is sleeping. That's why it was number two. And so, and then one thing that while we're looking at this, we need to look at something else. And I talk about this on the podcast, if you remember, is uh, look at things that bring you joy in your life. And it doesn't have to be nothing big, but little things, right? I like playing the video game, the PS5. I like exercising. I like cooking. I like spending time with my friend Pepe or just in general visiting with people. I like that. I like being on social media and interacting with people, making videos, and yeah, my videos aren't the best in the world, and I just try to find something that brings me joy in my life. Having a good cup of coffee. I decided a couple weeks ago that I was no longer going to put sugar in my coffee, and my coffee tasted like crap. I put sugar in my every time. I would go to the field in the military and I would forget my poncho, whatever, and I didn't care. But I always had sugar for my coffee, and now I'm not even drinking. I'm drinking coffee without sugar because I wanted to reduce the amount of sugar that my body's taking in. And then once you go through the withdrawals of it, the coffee I think tastes better now than what it did with sugar in it. And so that's just one of the little things that I dropped in my life for my health that makes me better. Uh, and so yeah, and so hey Cliff, so why did you do that? Why did you drop sugar out of your body? Because I started getting skin tags. So when you read about what causes skin tags, then you start reading about, oh, well, maybe I need to change things that I'm putting in my body. And it's funny, I cut the sugar out and they go away. It's pretty interesting. You can also use castor oil too. You put castor oil on them, and over a month, every day put castor oil on and get rid of them. But I'll say that for another thing. But if you're still doing these little things that I've talked about today and you're still having issues or problems, maybe you need to consider talking to a professional, right? Maybe it's somebody that uh, go. Yes, that's true. Yeah, sleep is cumulative. You can catch up on it later. You can't really do that, but maybe you need to go to the doctor. Maybe you need to go get a physical done to make sure that maybe you're not down on a certain vitamin, whether it's D vitamins or B12 or iron issues. Those can be very important, and you can control that a lot with your diet. But sometimes you may just need extra, make sure you're getting enough sunlight to get that vitamin D in. Make sure you're taking the proper, B vitamins. Of course, if you start taking magnesium at night before you go to bed, that can have a lot of help on you and help with other things. So if it keeps happening, you have depression, anxiety, and things overlap a lot with that, of course, with PTSD and the other things you're dealing with. Um, let's go talk to a professional, whether it's your medical doctor or a psychiatrist or whomever, and just see if there's something. Now, I'm not a big pill taking guy, but I'm not an anti doctor either. Make sure that there's something there that maybe you might need to kind of give your body the boost it needs as you go through this period. Now, I do take a multivitamin, but I take it once every 7 days because I have a pretty good diet and I know my body stores things for that amount of time. um, and just be patient. The most important thing when you're making these little changes in your life and dealing with burnout is be patient. Progress isn't linear. I talk about this all the time, even with recovery. You can have setbacks, you can go forward, if you're always going straight and the same thing happens over and over again, then maybe linear isn't the answer. Maybe you need to go left or right. And I talk about that all the time. And just keep making little changes. And over time, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, you'll start seeing things change. And I think this is so very important because once you start feeling the less effects of burnout, once you start realizing as you reconnect with your friends or you start dropping things that don't bring your life joy, you really start to feel better about yourself. And then you can move on. Then you realize, oh, okay, these changes I made are having a positive impact. And then you want to continue them. And if you slip and go back and forth, this is perfectly fine. Just make sure that, you're patient with this as you're dealing with burnout, and it's so very important, and you will notice a difference, if you just continue working on these, a couple little steps, I talked about today in dealing with burnout. And so I kind of want to review them. One thing you can do, you can use AI. You can use AI and say, "Hey, AI, how do I deal with burnout, or how do I deal with this, or how do I deal with that?" And AI will give you pretty good recommendations out there, because it's crazy what AI does. But first thing, how do you fix a problem, right? What's the first thing you do if you got to fix a problem? You got to acknowledge that you have a problem, right? Cliff Ballman has a lot of problems. There's not enough time in the world for me to talk about all my problems, but I deal with them. I manage with them, right? I know how to deal with burnout. I know how to deal with stress. I know how to deal with PTSD. I know how to deal with my TBI, my eye thing coming up, my eyes super red. I know how to deal with it. Plenty of 10th Mountain Whiskey Bourbon that helps. No, I'm just joking. Secondly, sleep. Sleep still is very important. We know that, with even with your mental health and everything. So, try to do things to improve your sleep. That's really important. And you can try some of the little tips that I said. You ask AI tips and getting, ways to get better sleep. That is so very important. Also, you need to set boundaries, right? So let's look at the boundaries. Let's try to set some. Sometimes setting boundaries hurts at first. I get it. I've had to deal with that. And then, we talked about this a little bit, but you really need to prioritize real rest, right? And not just time off, right? You've always seen those guys who go on vacation and they work on vacation. What the hell are you going on vacation for if you're still going to do work? That's not real rest. That's not real vacation. That's just geography. You're just changing your location. You're still doing the same thing. Changing geography is not going to help you with burnout, right? And so it's important to realize that when you're on vacation, or when you're doing something, do it. When you're out walking, go out and walk. Don't be on your phone. Don't be texting people. Don't be reading social media because you'll run under a tree. Just let it go. That's so very important. And that goes right into the next one is, move your body, exercising. Need to reconnect with people. Reevaluate your priorities. Like I said earlier, it's very important to do. Finding things that bring you joy, you know, and getting some wins for the day. Wins. I talk about this, right? In the military, they taught us about, in master's NC training, hunt the good stuff, and they always said that at night before you go to bed, think of three good things that happened to you that day before you go to sleep, because it resets your brain, right? And no matter how crappy your day is, I guarantee you something went good that day. You had three good things that happened that day that went good, and so think about those. And then you can write them down. You can journal. You can use Earkick and do a texting journal. There's a lot of programs out there now with AI. And just think about three good things. There's always three good things that happen to you for the day. That's really will help you with your tiny little joys for the day, and really kind of get the negativity out as you're dealing with this burnout and the stress. And it's important, right? Because that leads into better sleep, because you're not laying in bed tossing and turning and worrying about work and worrying about this and I need to do that. And finally, maybe you need to go see a doctor. Maybe you have something going on where you have low vitamin D issues. Maybe you have low magnesium. That's another thing you take. You can take magnesium, good complex magnesium at night before you go to bed. I guarantee you'll sleep a lot better. And so all these little things will really help you in dealing with your burnout, dealing with the anxiety, dealing with depression. I know with what's going on, in the world today, for a lot of veterans, that can bring a lot of anxiety on. It can bring a lot of depression. You can bring burnout. And so hopefully, I think some of these tips that I said today and help in dealing with burnout really resonated with you. I hope you'll take it to heart, that you'll try some of them. And just remember that as you try to do these changes in your life, that change isn't linear. Change has setbacks, and maybe you try something, you didn't like it, and you need to go back, reevaluate, try something again. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that if you do some of these things, that I think it will have a good, profound effect on you as you go through your recovery and dealing with stress. And then I just remembered that I didn't. I want to start there. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, Chris, if I throw you my link to my. All right, I'm going to try to share it. Let me see if it'll let me share it. Hang on a second. Now I'm closing up the podcast here, guys. I hope you really listen to it. I'm going to try to share the link to my YouTube page so you all can go out there and look at. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so that's the link to my YouTube page. You go out there and look at. I got cooking classes out there. Done with Pepe. If you learn how to make bolognese, scaparello. But also I got the houses out there that I've been looking at here in Italy. And if you take a look, see, throw your comments in the comment section, see what house you like the most. I will tell you, I like the yellow one, and then also I like the. Oh, Chris just sent to my messenger. I like the yellow one out there, and then there was a big white one on the end of day 2 that I watched. And I see, Chris, I think I posted it to you. Actually, I think it'll work, but we'll see. But anyway, hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you have a great, wonderful week. I really hope that you listen to that. If you're dealing with burnout, that maybe some of the tips I gave you will help you with that. And if you got something that worked for you, throw it in the comments. Throw it in the comments on Facebook. Throw it in the comments on X, TikTok, or wherever you watch your podcast. And if you have something that worked for you, share it with the community. Everybody has things that they do that may help somebody else. Maybe what I talk works for me doesn't work for anybody, but maybe you have an idea that works for you and share it with the group because it may help somebody. But hey, with that, I'm going to go around the horn again. You got Reads Across America there. They scan that QR code for a little $10, $15 you can donate for a wreath. The shirt's placed on the cemeteries during the holiday season. You can have one made, personalized one. So anyway, dude, scan that QR code. They'll be able to help you out. I'm getting tired now, so my brain's getting scrambled, that you guys know. But, along with that, Reads Across America Radio, we plays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. And it's super easy to find. Just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, and the Odyssey app, and search for Reads for not only this great program, but all the great programs they have. I talked about it early on. I even showed pictures of 10th Mountain Whiskey being at the Wave Bar and Lounge there in Napoli, Italy. But give them a look-see. They really have great whiskey. They have great bourbon. They have great cordials. They have great, I think they have a vodka, if I remember right. Yes. And a moonshine. Anyway, they have a great lineup of products that won a lot of awards. I'll tell you, will not be disappointed with them. And then, of course, you get the Veterans Mortgage powered by Canopy Mortgage. You can scan that QR code and it'll be help you out with any questions you have with your mortgages or anything else going on. Interest rates are coming down. It's a good time to look at that. We look at buying your first house. Give them a look, see, they'll be more happy, but help you out. And then, hey, if you're still in the service, and hey, Brian, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being a long-term fan. If you're thinking about going to Hawaii, if you're being PCS, scan that one for PCS to Paradise. They'll be more than happy to help you and find that home. But hey, listen, everybody, as I always say at the end of every show, we are our brothers and sisters keepers out there. And so let's look out for each other. Spring is coming. It can be a very hard time for a lot of people out there, as rebirth and then change. New things are coming, but let's look out for each other and give each other a call. Give us a maybe go for a walk. Reconnect and go for a walk. There you go. There's a tip. But hey, have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week, and take care.